Hello students. During last period, we have seen the elements and mechanisms of innate immunity. Okay, there are two main types of immunity are present in the vertebrates. One innate immunity and second in the acquired immunity. Okay, innate immunity is that immunity which is naturally present in the body of animal after its birth. And acquired immunity means the immune mechanisms which takes place after onset of first infection to the animal. एनिमल के बर्थ होने के बाद उसको जब फर्स्ट इन्फेक्शन होता है, इन्फेक्शन होने के बाद में उसके बॉडी में सर्टन मैकेनिज्म्स डेवलप होते हैं आफ्टर बर्थ. ओके, इन्फेक्शन, पहला इन्फेक्शन होने के बाद such immunity is called as the acquired immunity. Okay, now innate immunity, this innate immunity is the natural immunity. There are six types of mechanisms present in the innate immunity. Okay, in the body of animal, naturally the body of animal possesses the six types of mechanism which resist or which fights against the diseases or pathogens or foreign molecules which enters in their body. First is the physical barriers. Okay, physical barriers are the presence of hard skin, presence of hair on body, presence of sweat gland, sebaceous gland. Okay, then presence of scales on body. Okay, then mucus, secretion of mucus along the respiratory, digestive, and another surfaces. These are the physical barriers. These physical barriers resist the pathogens to enter in the body of animal. The second are the chemical mediators. Okay, certain chemicals, certain proteins. Okay, certain chemicals are present in the body of animal which fight against the pathogens, which are called, which are known as cytokines, interferons, etc., etc. Then cellular defenses. Naturally, certain leukocytes, special leukocytes are present in the body which functions to fight against the pathogenic molecules or foreign molecules. Then natural killer cells, special types of cells present in the body of animal which kills the infected cells or which kills the pathogen by their cytotoxic secretions. Then inflammatory response. This inflammatory response is one of the mechanism for fighting against the pathogens. Okay, this is included in the innate immunity. And last is the complement system. Certain proteins are present in the body of animal. There were 30 types of proteins, different proteins, which fight against the infection by a series of biochemical reactions. Okay, now we will see the inflammatory response in detail. Okay, inflammatory response. This inflammation is caused by the external agents like microbes, pathogens, or certain drugs, allergen chemicals. Okay, or it may be caused by increased temperature, मैकेनिकल इंजरी, कहीं पे कुछ लग जाता है, मैकेनिकल इंजरी होती है. ओके, देन certain certain factors are also there. Some genetic disorder or immunological disorder also causes the inflammation of the body. Okay, tissue necrosis, ischemia, okay, physical or chemical injury. These are the causes of inflammation. Okay, now what actually happens in the inflammation? Okay, there are 5 signs of inflammation when any pathogen or any foreign molecules enter in the body of animal. The body of animal gives the 5 types of signs. Okay, that is rubor, calor, tumor, dolor, and antiolism. Okay, this science we will see after understanding the whole mechanism. Okay, now the mechanism of inflammation. Okay, see this diagram. Okay, this is the first diagram, entry of pathogen in the body. See, first you have to understand this architecture of this diagram. Okay, this is the diagrammatic structure of the skin and body. Okay, these are the cells of skins. This is the skin layer. Okay, this is skin. Okay, then below the skin body cells are present. These are the body cells. Okay, these are the body cells or muscle cells. In between these body cells there is a space which is called as extracellular space. बॉडी के बीच बॉडी सेल्स जो है उनके बीच में स्पेस रहती है, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं, एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेस. ओके, सी द टाइटल्स, एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेस. और ये जो एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेस है, दैट एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेस ऑलरेडी कंटेन्स द एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर फ्लूइड और इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड. ओके, इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड, ये एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेसेस इंटरस्टिशियल और एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर फ्लूइड से भरी रहती है. Then what is extracellular fluid? This extracellular fluid contains the carbohydrate, protein, fats, various enzymes, various hormones, and various nutrient materials and elements. Okay, and through this extracellular fluid, these nutrients are supplied to the body cells. Okay, see the idea, see the basic idea of the human body or animal body. This is the blood vessels. Okay, see these blood, from these blood vessels these nutrients are shed into these extracellular spaces, and from these extracellular spaces these nutrients goes to the body cells. Okay, see the whole process. Okay, digestion. In digestion, what happens in digestion? In digestion, the complex food is converted into simple foods. Okay, carbohydrate, proteins and fats we eat, or animal eat carbohydrate, protein and fats. This carbohydrate, protein and fats after digestion converted into simple molecules. Okay, these are amino acids, then glucose and fructose, fatty acid and glycerol. These are the digested substances. Okay, and in digestive system these digested substances absorbed in the blood. Now this blood contains amino acids, then fatty acid, glycerols. Okay, and glucose and fructose. Okay, these are the nutrient for the cells. These capillaries, the network of capillaries are spread in the spread all over the body. Okay, see this is the blood capillary. This blood present blood cells and plasma. Okay, in plasma or in this fluid present in blood, these nutrients are present. Now how this blood supply the nutrients to the body cells? From these capillaries the blood plasma enters into the extracellular fluid. Extracellular fluid में ये blood plasma percolate होता है. Means blood plasma contains carbohydrate, protein, fats, okay, enzymes, hormones, etc., etc., all the nutrients. Then from this extracellular fluid these cells absorb that nutrients. Okay, this is the basic idea. Okay, now in the body organization of body tissues, these blood vessels or blood capillaries are spread all over the body tissues. Okay, बॉडी के हर एक छोटे से छोटे पार्ट में ये ब्लड कैपिलरीज प्रेजेंट रहती है. ओके, नाउ दिस इज द डायग्राम ऑफ transverse section of skin and some underneath area. Okay, this is skin, then these are the cells, body cells, then this is the capillary, blood capillary, or you may call it is a arteriole. Okay, means small capillary. See, in this extracellular fluid, certain immune cells are present scattered. Okay, these like macrophage cells, then mast cells, then dendritic cells. Okay, see these. This is the dendritic cell, means this cells possess the projection or dendrites. Okay, these are the dendritic cells. Then this is macrophage cells. These macrophage cells and dendritic cells are phagocytic in function. Okay, these mast cells. Okay, these mast cells are secretory in function. This macrophage and dendritic cell also secrete certain secretions. Okay, these are the leukocyte types of leukocytes which are present scattered in the extracellular spaces. Okay, now see this insect, any insects when bites to the skin of animal, what happens? This insect pour his sphincter in the skin by damaging certain body cells. ये बॉडी के सेल डैमेज करके ये जो स्फिंक्टर है ये स्किन के अंदर एंटर करता है, एंड दिस स्फिंक्टर is possesses the pathogen. The pathogens are present attached with the sphincter of that animal. For example, mosquito. मस्कीटो का जो स्फिंक्टर रहता है वो स्फिंक्टर पे क्या रहते हैं? मलेरिया के पैथोजेंस रहते हैं। जब वो स्फिंक्टर बॉडी में पोर करता है तो स्फिंक्टर को जो पैथोजन अटैच है, दैट पैथोजेंस एंटर्स इन द बॉडी ऑफ एनिमल. ओके, these are the pathogens. This red color, these are the pink colored pathogens. Okay, see first this insect, this pathogens enters below the skin. Okay, entry of pathogen in the body. Now after that what happens? See here, these are the pathogens, these are the damaged cells. Okay, by the entry of sphincter these cells get damaged, and then pathogen enters in the body of animals. That pathogens also attack on the body cells and get the destruction of the body cells. Okay, now firstly what happens? Certain body cells get destructed and species are scattered in the extracellular fluid. Okay, this species or these molecules of cells which is called as DAMP molecules, damage associated molecular patterns. सेल अगर ब्रेक हो गया मीन्स उसके जो मॉलिक्यूल्स है वो इधर उधर अलग होंगे वो सेल्स से, दैट आर कॉल्ड एज DAMP और damage associated molecular patterns. Okay, then when pathogen present in the body, this pathogen present the certain new molecules. Okay, certain another molecules on their cell membranes. That molecules are foreign molecules because those molecules are unknown to the body of animal. ये जो पैथोजन है, पैथोजन की जो सेल मेम्ब्रेन है, आउटर सेल मेम्ब्रेन, उसके ऊपर प्रोटीन एंड लिपिड्स वो अलग स्ट्रक्चर करेंगे, दैट आर कॉल्ड एज फॉरेन मॉलिक्यूल्स. दैट पैथोजन कंटेन्स द different molecules or foreign molecules which is contain PAMP, pathogen associated molecular patterns. These molecules are called as pathogen associated molecular patterns. Okay, now what happens? These macrophage cells and dendritic cells, these leukocytes, special leukocytes which are present scattered in the extracellular spaces. These macrophage cells and dendritic cells have the receptors. Okay, these macrophage cells and dendritic cells recognize these pathogenic molecules and these damaged cell molecules by the help of their receptors. इनके जो receptors रहते हैं, ये receptors क्या करते हैं? ये सेल डैमेज हो गए, उसके मॉलिक्यूल्स अलग हो गए तो ये रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं. देन ये जो पैथोजेनिक मॉलिक्यूल्स है, ओके, तो पैथोजेनिक मॉलिक्यूल ये जो रिसेप्टर रहते हैं डेंड्रिटिक सेल के और मैक्रोफेज सेल के, वो क्या करते हैं? वो मॉलिक्यूल के साथ बाइंडिंग करते हैं. देन दैट सेल रिकॉग्नाइज द foreign molecules of pathogens and also recognize these molecules from the damaged cells. Okay, DAMP and PAMP. After recognition of these molecules by through the receptors. These dendritic cell and macrophage cells secretes the pro-inflammatory cytokines. They secrete certain chemical secretion which are called as pro-inflammatory cytokines. These are interleukin 1 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, IL-1 and TNF alpha. These both are the called as pro-inflammatory cytokines. Okay. Then after that, these pro-inflammatory cytokines IL-1 and TNF alpha, these stimulate the mast cells. These mast cells are also present in the extracellular spaces. Okay, these mast cells are the granular cells. The granules of certain secretions are present in the mast cell. This interleukin 1 and TNF alpha, that pro-inflammatory cytokines, activate this or stimulate this mast cells, and this mast cell secrete the another secretions like histamines, leukotrienes and prostaglandins. Okay, these are called as the inflammatory mediators. Okay, see what happened. First, these dendritic cells and macrophage cells recognize these molecular damaged cells and molecules, foreign molecules from pathogen through their receptors. देन रिसेप्टर्स इन्होंने रिकॉग्नाइज होने के बाद में क्या होगा, ये एक्टिवेट हो गए. देन एक्टिवेट होने के बाद ये दोनों भी सेल, डेंड्रिक सेल एंड मैक्रोफेज सेल, सीक्रेट प्रो इन्फ्लेमेटरी साइटोकाइंस IL-1, इंटरल्यूकिन 1 एंड TNF alpha. Okay, these pro inflammatory cytokines IL-1 and TNF alpha that stimulate the mast cells present in the extracellular spaces. These mast cells stimulate, activates and secretes the inflammatory mediators like histamines, leukotrienes, and prostaglandins. Okay, these are called as inflammatory mediators. These inflammatory mediators, when secreted by mast cells, this causes the vasodilation. Means this is the blood vessel. Okay, these inflammatory, these histamine, leukotrienes, and prostaglandins, inflammatory mediators, this causes the vasodilation. See, these blood vessels get dilated. See in first diagram. This is the normal blood vessel. Okay. After secretion of these histamine, leukotriene, and prostaglandins, this blood vessels becomes the dilated. Means उसका size बड़ा हो जाता है. Okay. Then after dilation of this, due to dilation of these blood vessels, this some plasma fluids and plasma proteins leaks into the extracellular fluid. यहाँ पे गैप तैयार हो गया. Okay, due to vasodilation, this retraction of endothelium, it causes retraction of endothelium. Means ये endothelial cells ऐसे दूर दूर हो जाते हैं, and some gaps are produced in between the endothelial cells of wall of blood vessels. ये gaps तैयार हो गए, और ये gaps में से this plasma fluid and certain proteins enters into the extracellular fluid. Okay, see what happens. First, when pathogen enters in the body, these secretions, dendritic cell, macrophage cell secrete pro-inflammatory cytokines. Then pro-inflammatory cytokines stimulate mast cells secretes histamine, leukotriene, and prostaglandins. And these inflammatory mediators and these chemicals causes the vasodilation. Okay, in this vasodilation, during this vasodilation, the flow of blood in the nearby capillaries get increased. कि vasodilation होने की वजह से क्या होता है, ये ब्लड का फ्लो इंक्रीज होता है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ब्लड का फ्लो इंक्रीज होने की वजह से क्या होता है, दिस प्लाज्मा फ्लूइड leaks from the gaps of endothelial cells, because at that time retraction of endothelium takes place. endothelium endothelial जी endothelial लाइनिंग जो है ब्लड वेसल के वाल का, उसमें दो सेल्स के बिटवीन गैप आ जाते हैं. ओके, This is the second event. Okay, then after some time, what happens? By the leakage of plasma in this extracellular fluid, extracellular spaces में यहाँ का प्लाज्मा गया, इसमें ब्लड फ्लो ज्यादा है, प्लाज्मा अगर इसमें से फ्लूइड निकल गया तो क्या होता है, एट दैट टाइम आफ्टर सम टाइम दिस ब्लड फ्लो गेट्स रिड्यूस्ड, ये ब्लड फ्लो यहाँ का रिड्यूस होता है, एंड ड्यू टू रिड्यूस फ्लो ऑफ ब्लड दिस viscosity of this blood becomes increased, ब्लड की विस्कोसिटी इंक्रीज हो जाए क्योंकि ब्लड से फ्लूइड जो है वो एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेस में जा रहा है, लीक हो रहा है। ओके, देन ब्लड का फ्लो कम हो जाएगा और इसमें सेल्स ज्यादा रहेंगे, मीन्स इट कॉजेज द इंक्रीज ऑफ विस्कोसिटी ऑफ ब्लड, फ्लूइड इसमें कम हो गया, इसकी विस्कोसिटी बढ़ गई, सेल्स ज्यादा हो गई। ओके, देन ड्यू टू reduced flow of blood this leukocyte or white blood cells pushed along the periphery of blood vessels, ये जो बड़े white blood cells है ये blood vessels के पेरीफेरी की तरफ पुश किए जाते हैं, एंड दैट red blood cells RBCs, this small cells are RBCs, these RBCs flow at the center of vessels। okay, see next diagram। okay, हाँ, after that what happens, see here, this is normal blood vessels, then this histamine, leukotriene, prostaglandins, inflammatory mediators causes vasodilation। Okay, first blood flow increases, then after leakage of fluid in the extracellular process, this blood flow slows down, then it pushes the leukocyte at the periphery of blood vessels, and RBCs flow at the center। Okay, then after this event, what happens? The adhesion. This is one of the event. This interleukin 1 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNF alpha, which are firstly secreted by the macrophage and dendritic cells, IL-1 and TNF alpha. This IL-1 and TNF alpha appears the adhesion molecules on the endothelial cells and on the membrane of leukocytes। Okay, appearance of adhesion molecules on internal side of endothelial cells and on the membrane of that leukocytes। These green are the leukocytes, ये leukocytes पे क्या हो गया, एडिजन मॉलिक्यूल आ गए। ओके, लाइक रिसेप्टर, ये एडिजन मॉलिक्यूल, देन एंडोथेलियल सेल पे भी ये रिसेप्टर आ गया, ठीक है, ये एडिजन मॉलिक्यूल एंडोथेलियल सेल पे, then both the adhesion molecule of endothelial cell and adhesion molecule of this leukocyte, this becomes attached, and in this way these leukocytes are firmly attached with the endothelial cells। okay, then another event is the rolling over of leukocytes। okay, this histamine, leukotriene and prostaglandins which are secreted by mast cells, okay, these inflammatory mediators, histamine, leukotriene and prostaglandins, that causes the rolling over of leukocyte in the extracellular process। leukocytes यहाँ पे attach हो गए हैं, okay, then these cells becomes rolled। okay, ये cells क्या होता है, ऐसे roll होते हैं, roll होने के बाद में क्या होता है, ये इसकी जो attach हुआ है leukocyte, that leukocytes escape from the gap of the gap between endothelial cells। See here, this is leukocytes which is attached with the endothelial cell, endothelial cell ऐसा roll हो रहा है, घूम रहा है ऐसा, then with this endothelial cell these leukocytes escape from the blood vessels and enter into the extracellular spaces। okay, see, here are mostly three types of leukocytes or white blood cells which are to be sent in the extracellular spaces। These are neutrophil, eosinophil, and the monocytes. These neutrophil, eosinophil, and monocytes are having the phagocytic capacity. See here, here pathogens enter in the body of animal, and from blood vessel, these neutrophils, eosinophils, and monocytes. These are the white blood cells which are phagocytic function. For destruction of these pathogens, these cells are to be sent in the extracellular spaces. Okay, so this is the mechanism to send the white blood cells or these neutrophil, eosinophil, and monocytes into the extracellular process. Okay, first adhesion takes place. Okay, due to slowdown of blood flow, these white blood cells, neutrophil, eosinophil, and monocytes pushes at the periphery of blood vessels toward the endothelial cells. Okay, these are the endothelial cells, lining of blood vessels means endothelial cells. Okay, then after what happens, this interleukin and TNF alpha, these are called as chemokines or pro-inflammatory cytokines. These cytokines causes the appearance of adhesion molecules on these endothelial cells and on the membrane of that eosinophil, monocytes, and neutrophils. Hence, these white blood cells or these phagocytic cells get attached to the endothelial cells. After that, these endothelial cells get rolled at their place. वो place पे ऐसे roll होते हैं, and due to rolling, these attacked leukocytes becomes escape from the gap of the gap between endothelial cells. Endothelial cell में जो gap है, ये सेल अगर रोल हो रहा है, ये घूम रहा है एंडोथेलियल सेल, तो एंडोथेलियल सेल क्या करेगा, ये अटैच आरबीसी उसको बाहर एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेस में फेंक देगा. ओके, दिस इज द एडेजन, मीन्स एडेजन मॉलिक्यूल फॉर्म होना और ल्यूकोसाइट्स एंडोथेलियल सेल को अटैच होना. दिस इज एडेजन mechanism, and this is mechanism of rolling over of leukocytes. Okay, endothelial cell is send the leukocyte into extracellular spaces by rolling over process. Transfer of neutrophil, eosinophil, and monocyte in extracellular space. Okay, now see here. These are the pathogens. Okay, these neutrophil, eosinophil, and monocyte. This enters in the extracellular spaces. Enter over. Okay, then when these phagocytes enters in the extracellular spaces, this interleukin 8, leukotrienes, and complementary proteins. This interleukin 8 is secreted by the macrophage cells, interleukin 1, then it also secretes interleukin 8. Okay, then the leukotrienes, which are secreted by the mast cells, and then complementary proteins, these are already present in the extracellular spaces. More than 30 type of complementary proteins are present in the extracellular spaces. This interleukin 8, leukotrienes, and complementary proteins that drive that leukocytes or that phagocytic neutrophil, eosinophil towards the or at the site of injury where the pathogens are present. Okay, the, this drive of that cells done by the process called as chemotaxis. Okay, these chemicals drive these phagocytes, neutrophil, eosinophil, and monocytes by the process of chemotaxis. And this phagocytic cell reaches toward the site of injury. साइट ऑफ इंजरी के पास आने के बाद क्या होगा, ये क्या करेंगे, रैपिडली दे स्टार्ट द फैगोसाइटोसिस ऑफ द पैथोजेनिक मॉलिक्यूल्स. ये पैथोजेनिक के जो एंटीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स है, होल पैथोजेंस है, ओके, ये पूरे पैथोजेंस को क्या करते हैं, एनगल्फ करते हैं. ओके, इन दिस वे दिस cells engulf these pathogens by phagocytosis. Okay, then during this process of inflammation, first what happens after the injury? Okay, see here, after the injury, the flow of blood becomes increased in the nearby ब्लड कैपिलरीज, जो साइट ऑफ इंजरी के नियर बाय ब्लड कैपिलरी रहती है, उसमें क्या होता है, ब्लड फ्लो बढ़ जाता है. ओके, देन दिस causes the redness to the particular area where the injury is happens. Okay, जहाँ पे इंजुरी हुई है वहाँ पे क्या होता है, वो एरिया रेड हो जाता है, बराबर है. और ड्यू टू vasodilation and this increased blood flow, this area of skin where from where the pathogen enters in the body, this skin becomes heated. Okay, due to, because the temperature of blood is more than the blood of, slightly more than the टेम्परेचर ऑफ बॉडी फ्लूइड्स. ब्लड का टेम्परेचर कांस्टेंट होता है. यहाँ पे ज़्यादा ब्लड आ गया, देन प्लाज्मा, इसमें प्लाज्मा एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर फ्लूइड में लीक हो रहा है. इसकी वजह से क्या होता है, ये पूरा एरिया हीट हो जाता है. एंड ड्यू टू इंक्रीज ब्लड फ्लो, यहाँ पे ब्लड कैपिलरीज उसका साइज बढ़ रहा है, ब्लड फ्लो इंक्रीज हो रहा है. इसलिए क्या होता है, ये जो एरिया है जहाँ पे इंजुरी हो गई है, तो ये एरिया रेड हो जाता है. ओके, थोड़ा सा रेडनेस आता है. हमने देखा है जब मच्छर काटता है स्किन पे, तो वो एरिया थोड़ा रेड हो जाता है. ठीक है, एंड थोड़ा वहाँ पे गर्म लगता है, हीट जैसा लगता है. ओके, ड्यू टू increased blood flow in the nearby capillary. Okay, this increased blood flow happens due to that histamine, leukotriene, and prostaglandin. Then, in second place, second case, this plasma fluid enters in the extracellular fluid. पहले क्या है, ये स्किन के नीचे पूरा एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर स्पेसेस है, उसमें पूरा एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर फ्लूइड भरा है. ओके, ये हिस्टामाइन, ल्यूकोट्राइन, प्रोस्टाग्लैंडिन की वजह से ये ब्लड वेसल्स डायलेट हो गई और ब्लड में का जो प्लाज्मा फ्लूइड है ये, और ये एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर फ्लूइड में ऐड हो रहा है, बराबर है. तो यहाँ पे फ्लूइड ज़्यादा होगा. ओके, यहाँ पे फ्लूइड ज़्यादा होने की वजह से यहाँ पे प्रेशर बढ़ेगा, बराबर है. और ये प्रेशर बढ़ने के, ये प्रेशर ये प्रेशर बढ़ने के बाद क्या होता है, दिस पार्ट ऑफ दिस स्किन बिकम्स स्वेल. ये पार्ट थोड़ा सा स्वेल हो जाता है. ओके, वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा स्वेलिंग आ जाता है. ये क्यों होता है, ड्यू टू लीकेज ऑफ प्लाज्मा इन दी एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेसिस. ओके, सी दिस इज द इन्फ्लेमेशन. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा स्वेलिंग आ जाए. ठीक है, सी हियर दिस neutrophils, monocytes and eosinophils are entering in the extracellular process and started the phagocytosis. Now, in meantime, that and macrophage cells and dendritic cells. These macrophage cells and dendritic cells firstly secreted the pro-inflammatory cytokines. Pro-inflammatory cytokines. These are interleukin 1 and TNF alpha. These pro-inflammatory cytokines against drive the macrophage and dendritic cells from the another part of body. ये क्या करते हैं, बॉडी में जो ये जो IL-1 एंड TNF अल्फा है, ये जो सिक्रेशंस क्या है, जो आजू बाजू के एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर स्पेसेस में बॉडी में जो मैक्रोफेज सेल्स एंड डेंड्रिटिक सेल्स है, वो डेंड्रिटिक सेल्स को यहाँ पे इधर ड्राइव करते हैं एट द साइट ऑफ इंजुरी. ओके, this is about the inflammation. Now see here, there are 5 signs of inflammation. Rubor. Inflammation starts vasodilation of arteries and blood capillaries at the site of injury and tissue damage. This is called as rubor. अपने को सेंसेशन हो गया, कहीं पे इंजुरी होगी. ओके, पहले vasodilation जब होता है तो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज रूबर. देन कैलर. दिस vasodilation होने की वजह से क्या होता है, वहाँ पे रेडनेस आता है ड्यू टू increased blood flow in the nearby blood vessels, arterial and blood capillaries. Okay, which increase redness and hit the part of injury. This phenomenon is called as scalar. Then tumor. This leakage of plasma protein and fluids from dilated vessels and accumulation in the extracellular space causes the swelling or edema. वहां पे स्वेलिंग आ जाता है, तो उसको क्या कहते हैं, दिस फिनोमिना इज कॉल्ड एज ट्यूमर. Then dolor, chemical secretion by immune cells during inflammation may cause tightness and pain at the site of injury. These mast cell dendritic cells, this secretes the pro-inflammatory cytokines. Then mast cell secrete the histamine, leukotriene, and prostaglandins. Due to secretion of these chemicals, the area of skin becomes tight and feels the pain. This phenomenon is called as dolor. Then Fantiolysa, the swelling and pain lost the function of body tissues at the site of injury. At the site due to inflammation, at pain, the body tissues present at the site of injury, their function becomes lost. Okay, this is about the inflammatory response. Okay, see here, all the notes are given here. Okay, now see how to study this inflammation. Okay, see these are the inflammation in tabulated form. First, injury and pathogen enters in the extracellular spaces. First event. Then, nextly, that DAMP, damage associated molecular pattern from broken body cells, and PAMP means pathogenic molecules which are present on their cell membranes. These molecules are recognized by the dendritic cells and macrophage cells. Okay, with the help of their receptors means DAMP and PAMP are recognized by dendritic cells and macrophage cells. Next, what happens? These dendritic cells and macrophage cells activate and secretes pro-inflammatory cytokines, that is interleukin 1 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, and also interleukin 8, IL-1, TNF alpha, and IL-8. Then next, this IL-1 and TNF alpha activate the mast cells present in extracellular spaces. These mast cells secrete the inflammatory mediators, that is histamine, leukotriene, and prostaglandins. And this inflammatory mediator inflam start the inflammatory response. This is given in the second table. This inflammatory mediators, histamine, leukotriene, and prostaglandin, first causes the vasodilation. वो क्या करते हैं? First, nearby blood capillaries जो है arterioles, उसका डायलेशन करते हैं, उसका diameter बढ़ाते हैं. Then it increase the blood flow in the blood vessels. Due to increased blood vessels, it gives redness to the skin and heat at the site of injury. The next step is, due to dilation of blood vessels, retraction takes place in the wall of blood vessels. Means blood vessels की wall stretch होती है उसकी side बढ़ने से, and it creates the gap between the endothelial cells of lining of blood vessel. Blood vessel के lining में जो endothelial cells होते हैं उसके between gaps तैयार होती है. Hence it increase the permeability through the walls of vessels. जो एंडो ब्लड वेसल्स की वॉल है उसकी परमिएबिलिटी बढ़ जाती है ड्यू टू appearance of gaps between endothelial cells which are present in the wall of blood vessels. Due to that, due to retraction, this plasma fluid and plasma protein leaks from the blood vessels into the extracellular spaces. ये ब्लड में से प्लाज्मा फ्लूइड एंड प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर स्पेस में लीक होते हैं. अभी लीक होने के बाद में क्या होता है? ड्यू टू फिलिंग ऑफ प्लाज्मा फ्लूइड एंड प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर स्पेसेस, इट इंक्रीज द वॉल्यूम ऑफ एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर फ्लूइड. पहले ही जो एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर स्पेसेस है उसमें एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर फ्लूइड भर के है. देन यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? अगेन द fluid from blood vessels, fluid and protein from nearby blood vessels entering in the extracellular fluid उसमें ज्यादा होता है. Then it causes the swelling at the site of injury. Okay, वहाँ पे इंजुरी क्या जो साइट है वहाँ पे स्वेलिंग आ जाता है. नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है? आफ्टर कंप्लीट डायलेशन ऑफ ब्लड वेसल्स, ब्लड वेसल डायलेट होने के बाद में, एंड आफ्टर द लीकेज ऑफ फ्लूइड इन एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर spaces, the viscosity of blood increases due to leakage of plasma fluid in extracellular spaces. ब्लड में एक पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट का फ्लूइड है, बराबर है, और ब्लड सेल्स है, रेड ब्लड सेल एंड व्हाइट ब्लड सेल्स. हमने अगर वो ब्लड वेसल्स में से उसका वाटरी पार्ट, फ्लूइड पार्ट बाहर गया, फ्लूइड पार्ट बाहर तैयार केला, बाहर चला गया, तो फिर क्या होगा, अंदर सिर्फ सेल ज्यादा रहेंगे, फ्लूइड कम रहेगा. ओके, ड्यू टू दैट रीजन इट इंक्रीज द viscosity of blood. It slows down the flow of blood in the vessels. इसलिए क्या होता है, ये इसका ब्लड फ्लो कम हो जाता है. ड्यू टू less blood flow, the RBC flow at the center of vessel and white blood cells pushes toward the periphery of that blood vessels. जो white blood cells है बड़े, वो पेरीफेरी की तरफ पुश होते हैं और बीच में ये आरबीसी फ्लो होते हैं. दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड एज मार्जिनेशन. ओके, देन नेक्स्ट, these inflammatory cytokines IL-2 and TNF-alpha causes appearance of adhesion molecules on the endothelial cells of wall of blood vessels, endothelial cells, and on the cell membranes of white blood cells like eosinophil, monocytes, and neutrophils. Okay, यहाँ पे क्या होता है? See here what happens. These adhesion molecules appears only on the phagocytic cells. These white blood cells the which are having the phagocytic function. Okay, ये eosinophil, neutrophil and monocytes, ये इनके सेल मेम्ब्रेन पे एडिशन मॉलिक्यूल्स अपीयर होते हैं एंड आल्सो अपीयर ऑन द endothelial cells of wall of blood vessels. Okay, then after that, that monocyte, eosinophil, neutrophils adhere or attach with the endothelial cell with the help of adhesion molecules. दोनों भी एडिशन मॉलिक्यूल्स एक दूसरे को अटैच होते हैं, एंडोथेलियल सेल के एंड व्हाइट ब्लड सेल के. दिस eosinophil, neutrophil, monocytes. This process is called as adhesion. After adhesion, the rolling of endothelial cells causes the rolling over of that phagocytes, monocyte, eosinophil, neutrophils from the blood vessels into the extracellular spaces through the gaps between endothelial cells. Endothelial cells रोल होने के बाद में क्या होता है, वो उसको जो अटैच है इओसिनोफिल और व्हाइट ब्लड सेल अटैच है, वो व्हाइट ब्लड सेल भी ऐसा वो गैप में से बाहर निकल जाता है. ओके, एंड इट एंटर्स इनटू द एक्स्ट्रासेलुलर फ्लूइड. दिस प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड एज rolling over. Hence the phagocytic leukocytes enters in the extracellular spaces. Then next step, after entry of phagocytic cells to the extracellular spaces, it reaches at the site of injury and infection. ये जो eosinophil, neutrophil and monocytes है, that phagocyte reaches at the site of injury. जहाँ पे इंजुरी हुई है, means at the site of injury there are pathogens. Okay, pathogens are present at the site of injury. Then what happens, this interleukin 8, then complementary proteins and leukotrienes, these secretions which are present in the extracellular fluid, these secretions of these chemicals drive these eosinophil, neutrophil and monocytes towards the site of injury, and this process is called as chemotaxis. Then the monocyte, neutrophil, eosinophils and all the macrophage and dendritic cells. These macrophage and dendritic cells are already phagocytes, phagocytic in function. These all type of cells perform the phagocytosis of pathogenic cells and toxic molecule. This stage is called as the phagocytosis. Okay, this is about the inflammatory response. Okay, see here all the diagrams are given and this text is written according to the diagrams. You have to write this paragraph and see these diagrams. Okay, in next period we will see the another topic. Okay, thank you.